Did you miss an episode earlier this year? Well, you're in luck because today's the day we get you caught up on headlines and fine print through the first half of 2025. Hello and welcome to Headlines and Fine Print. I'm Dion Williams, President and CEO of Piedmont Advantage Credit Union. Now, just as a reminder, before we get into today's topic, we are archived on Spotify and YouTube for any past episodes. And again, today we're kind of doing a recap of 2025 so far. So it'd be a great time to catch up on past episodes. Also, we'd like to invite you to like and share our episodes if so inclined to get the word out about headlines and fine print. But with no further ado, let's jump into some of the highlights from the first half of 2025. So let's begin with resolutions. Now, we did this back in January, and we talk about health and fitness and finances, of course. You start that new year and you're all excited about getting into the gym or forming saving habits or saving for a big purchase. Maybe it's a house or a car. But lo and behold, the first time something goes wrong, that's kind of the end of it. And what we talked about on that episode is that there's so much more to the story than that. So if you fall off the bicycle, get up and keep pedaling. Life is definitely going to happen. Things are going to happen. If you go to the YMCA or the gym January 2nd versus the end of February, you see that difference of how many people dropped off. So the main thing with finances is get back on that bicycle and keep pedaling. Every day can be day one. So now we're in July. So July can be day one for the goals for the rest of this year. So whatever the goal is, doesn't matter if it's January, July, December, September, does not matter. Any day can be day one. And at the credit union, we're here to help you and join you along that journey to help you achieve your financial goals. So again, in terms of resolutions, it's great to have them, but things are going to happen. So just jump back into it and let this day be day one for you achieving your financial goals. Also, we talked about club accounts, and we kind of do this in two ways because first of all, we've got the Christmas club accounts for over the holidays, and we talked about that at the end of last year going into the beginning of this year. That's a great way to start setting aside money incrementally throughout the year. So when you get to the holiday season, you're ready. But more recently, we talked about that within the scope of vacations. If you're planning your summer vacation, and you may have already taken your vacation by this point, but it's a great time to start saving for next year's vacation. The whole purpose of those club accounts is to set aside money today for expenses tomorrow. And whether it's $25 or $100 each time you're paid, doesn't matter how much you've got set aside. The point is that the amounts you have set aside for those future goals, it's there when you need it. So anything that you have set aside is money that you don't have to borrow or do a buy now, pay later or put on a credit card. It's there for you when you need it. Earlier this year, we also did an episode on your first credit card. And I thought it would be timely to recap that one at this time because if you've got college-age kids, I know mine are really close to going back for the next school year. And one thing that's for certain when you go on campus is the credit card companies are there ready to make you offers to get that first card into your hand or to get another card into your hand. And that can start, kind of a lifelong spiral of debt if you're not careful. So with that first credit card, we talked about first that your credit history stays with you throughout your entire life. So it's very important to make payments on time, to use credit responsibly, and build up that credit history that's going to help you in the future when you're ready to buy a house or a car. Secondly, think about bells and whistles. Some credit cards have an annual fee, some credit cards don't, but just think about your needs and remember this. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is if you pay off your balance each month. So make sure the bells and whistles fit your needs, but make sure that you're not overpaying or paying for things that you don't need. And if you pay off the balance each month, interest is one of those things that you're not going to have to worry about. And the last thing that I'll mention in terms of your first credit card is you are your best advocate. So be sure to look at your monthly statement. Be sure to look at your transactions in the app or on the website of the credit card provider, because fraud is something that unfortunately is prevalent. So you are the best line of defense. Now, credit card companies have fraud detection departments that are trying to catch it, but there is a statute of limitations as far as when you have to report it if you catch it yourself. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on your transactions through your statements and your regular app and activity, and report it promptly if there's something on there that was a charge that does not belong to you. We did an episode earlier this year on car loan extras, and we may call them ancillary products. You may know them by GAP, Guaranteed Asset Protection. That protects the difference between what you owe in a car and what the car is actually worth. And with cars, when you drive it off the lot, it drops in value. So the gap insurance kind of bridges that coverage. And one thing I'll give you kind of as a pro tip on that, be sure to shop around on that coverage. You may find that your credit union has a lower premium on that than what you would get at the dealership, but gap can be very useful because of that. A lot of times cars are financed for up to what they're worth or maybe even more than that, and they depreciate when you drive it off the lot. So just keep that in mind. Gap can be very useful, but just be wary of what those premiums are and that you're paying a fair price for it. In addition, we talked about debt protection coverage, and that can be a combination of these items. It could be credit life, credit disability, or unemployment insurance. So if there's an untimely death, it would pay off the balance of the loan. With disability, it would make payments during a disability period. And with unemployment insurance, if there's a job loss, it helps make payments while you're seeking new employment. So again, you can kind of do those as a la carte or bundle them together under the broader umbrella of debt protection. And I'll give you a tip on this one as well. Personally, I've done term life insurance rather than credit life insurance. Or term life insurance is more of a blanket, broader policy on my life for a stated number of years, and have enough on that to cover the mortgage and any other loans that I may have, because that can stay with you. You know, we change cars every few years. We may change houses several times during our lifetime. Loans don't stay with us forever. So just a reminder that with credit life insurance, there's alternatives that may be more cost effective for you. So just review your options. And then last but not least, we did a couple of episodes on legislation, and that's not common for us. We usually stick to consumer finance topics, but we talked about one big beautiful bill because it had a direct impact on credit unions. There was a discussion in terms of paying for the tax cuts that the one big beautiful bill may rescind the credit union's tax exemption that we have. Now, the tax exemption, we're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. So we've reviewed in past episodes with our quote-unquote profits, we give them back to members in three ways. We offer competitive rates on our loans and deposits, we charge low fees, and we invest in services and service delivery channels for our membership. So we very much operate as a not-for-profit, but one of the ways that was being considered for paying for the tax cuts was to rescind the tax exemption to credit unions. And we do pay all kinds of taxes, such as employment tax, we pay property tax. So there are taxes that we pay. It's just that exemption from corporate federal income taxes that we do not pay. And I'm happy to report that we did come out of the one big beautiful bill with a tax exemption intact. So we did preserve our tax exempt status, and that was because credit union members, credit union employees really stepped up to the plate and let our lawmakers hear us loud and clear that credit unions do a lot for the communities. We do a lot in underserved areas. We make small loans that other financial institutions won't make, and we make them at affordable rates and have affordable fees. So if you were one of the ones that made a call or wrote a letter to our elected leaders, thank you very much for doing that, because we did come out of the one big beautiful bill with the tax exemption intact. Since we're at the halfway point of 2025, I wanted this episode to provide a recap of some topics from previous shows to set the stage for the rest of the year. So if anything piqued your interest that we kind of did the lightning round on today, feel free to go to Spotify or YouTube for more information and for the entirety of those episodes. I want to thank you again for tuning in to Headlines in Fine Print. For this episode, brought to you by Piedmont Advantage Credit Union, we'll launch new episodes each month. So if you have a topic in mind that's of interest to you, please let us know. You can contact me directly at dion.williams@pacu.com, and my phone number is 336-750-7088, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. In addition, your credit union's here as a resource. So we talked about a number of topics today that touch your financial life. We talked about the first credit card. We talked about ancillary products or the car loan extras when you make a car loan purchase. We talked about resolutions on finances in general. So I just want you to know that your credit union's here to help you. We have certified credit counselors and folks that can assist you every step of the way on your financial journey in life. And it's our honor to do so. As a credit union, we see that as giving back to our communities and living out our mission of serving others. So thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.